Well, good morning,
Welcome
Tracy. My
back to the
name is,
Voices of
here
Women
we
Summit,
go.
where in honor of International Women's Day 2025, we are raising the voices of hundreds of women so their messages can be heard. Your host for this session is Renee Remy. Renee is the Caregiver's Coach. She is the author of The Secret to Alzheimer's Dementia Care, and she founded the Alzheimer's Wonderland community. She's got another amazing guest coming right up. Take it away, Renee.
Tracy, I am so good to see you. So happy to see you here this morning. And
I am so excited too.
yes, and I'm excited to hear what you're talking about today. I understand it is human connection.
Yes. Yes.
And
Thank goodness we don't have to talk about technology connection, right?
so important to talk about human connection right now at this time. So tell me, how did you become an expert in human connection?
Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? I didn't know that I was until many decades in my corporate world in leadership, kind of carried on. And there was a couple different times where I thought, there's something I'm doing different. But I wasn't around enough people outside of my own bubbles of 200 to sometimes 6,000 employees when I was managing big venues and doing big events. And you know what? A couple of years ago, I moved across the country and opening this book or this box of things that employees had given me over the years. I had this little folder called "Thank You," and I opened it, and there were thousands of thank you notes. There were, the information that people fill out after a training session. And I did all my training sessions for almost 40 years in leadership. I never knew you hired an outside coach. I never knew you got someone else to come in and train your people. So I did that. And I always did follow up too. So I got to sit there and read with tears in my eyes the thanks that my employees over the years have given to me about helping them, lifting them up, redirecting them. And I realized that I was having an impact on the trajectory of their lives in a way that I never knew that I could. So that changed everything for me the last couple of years. And I wrote a book about it. I just published an Oracle deck about leadership. The book is about leadership. And that's what I do now is that I'm a certified Berkeley coach. I have my own business. And I love talking about human connection because I know it's all of those years of learning and having the opportunity and the gift of that folder to look back and go, yeah, I made a difference in their lives and I can help them too.
Wow. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I think it's so fascinating. A lot of people don't have that little folder. I
Right,
call them the smiley faces, right? That
right.
help know the good work that we've been doing. Um, so what made you think to create that and how can you listen to others to find heart and meaning? How can
Oh
you
my
bring
goodness.
that in?
Yeah, so yeah, I will always treasure that little folder that I found with all of those amazing cards, handwritten cards, and the people had filled out from training that I did. But human connection as a superpower, yeah, one of the tips. And first I was gonna ask. I know that we kind of got started a minute late because of tech issues, but sometimes we think of human connection as shaking someone's hand and exchanging business cards at a networking event. We think that, if we can book a coffee meeting with them afterwards, that we're really connected, right? Because we've taken two steps to get to know them. Sometimes we think, if we send that follow-up meeting and they reply back and we say, hey, we're going to keep in touch, that we've made this connection. But I'm here to tell you it's much, much deeper than that. And to answer the question that you just asked me about heart and meaning, that is one of the ways to amplify it. And the first way to begin to find heart and meaning in another person that you meet, to really, really grab onto that human connection, is to learn to hold space for them. It's something that you're starting to hear about a little bit here and there, For us, I happen to be a Berkeley coach, and that's something that they teach us. It's one of our main pedagogies is holding space for other people. And it's really funny because Renee, when we first start coaching this way, we have clients that sometimes will talk for 45 minutes, but we've learned so well to hold space that we will sit quietly for 45 minutes. And some of us, we haven't had anybody to listen to us in such a long time that we could easily fill up 45 minutes, right? But that's okay, because when I begin with clients, my first session is usually a lot of them talking, and that's okay. How I hold space is I respectfully do not respond or butt in with my own words, other than a nod, a quiet nod. I shut my mouth, and that is how we hold space for other people. We let them speak and we don't interrupt them because often when someone's speaking, they're going to hesitate and they're going to say, well, okay, maybe I've spoken too long. But as long as you're smiling, you're still nodding, you're just engaged with them, and you're listening to what they're saying, they're going to keep going. And that's when the diamonds and the nuggets come out. That's when they really get to share their truth and what they need to share with someone else. And then so we receive them and we hold them in our hands. And if we're a good person at holding space, we're paying attention to the things that have heart and meaning. We are able to decipher through all of the stuff that they're saying. If it is a 45-minute talking, and sometimes it's like just trying to get out this information, then yeah, you can grab those things that have heart and meaning. And when they're done talking, you can respectfully say, "This is what I heard." And sometimes, guess what, Renee? They didn't even hear it themselves. So we're able to give back to them. And that's what I love about coaching so much is that I can pay attention to what has heart and meaning. And I can say, did you realize that you said XYZ? And often they didn't know. So that's how we start this a great connection, human connection. And whether I'm coaching or whether I'm at a networking event or meeting someone just for the first time through friends. Yeah.
Wow, I so understand that process of human connection because as a chaplain, a spiritual care counselor, that's a foundation of what we do is holding that space.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to, as a coach, take it an extra step further. So what
Mm-hmm.
happens in addition to holding that space?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the second tip that I like to offer is the eye contact and in sincere interest in what they're saying. You can tell when somebody's kind of like looking over your shoulder, or like say you're at a networking event, right, and they're looking over your shoulder to see who else is in the room and maybe who else they should talk to, and you're just like, what, they're not even really paying attention to what I'm saying. So so really, that second way to amplify human connection is really just as eye connection, eye contact. And sometimes people are uncomfortable with that because we're so not used to looking at people in the eye, but look at them straight in the eye and don't pay attention to anything that's going on around them. Sometimes you'll get interrupted and people will just say, hey, I wanted to say hi because they know you. That's okay. Go back to that person that's right in front of you. Because I've always believed, if we're talking about a networking event or being in a room of people, there might be 150 people, but you don't have to meet all 150. I tell clients, especially when they want to know, how do I connect with more people? How do I make this human connection and how do I network? You know what? Look for 5 people at the most that you're going to have a conversation with and that you're going to follow up with and you're going to get to know. Maybe 3. So pay attention to that person that's in front of you. Eye contact is huge. When you are looking right at their eyes, whether it's on video or it's in person, they will know that you are listening to them. They will know that you are listening to them. And then there's a third way that will make sure that you know that you do that you're doing that. So may I jump into that?
Please do.
Okay.
I'm
So
fascinated.
the third way that I have found, which is remarkable and it's so much fun to do, is when you're again, here we are at a networking event and there's people and you're making a human connection with this person. You're letting them just talk. You're nodding. You're not butting in. You're making eye contact. You're being able to, when they're done speaking, you can go, wow, that's really interesting what you talked about, about that hobby that you have. Tell me more, so they know you heard, that you heard what they said. Well, the third and final way to amplify, which just is like rock star stuff and it hits it out of the park, is when you can have listened to this person well enough, and it could have been 10 minutes, you know, another person comes along that's a friend or somebody you've met before, someone else maybe who's just wanting to get involved and connect with your group of two and make it three. The best thing to do is not introduce yourself, not ask them about who they are, but is to say to this new person standing here, I am so excited to introduce you to my new friend, Alexandra. This is what I know about her that is so exciting. You know, she loves to go, snow mobiling. She loves to travel to the Philippines in the wintertime to go snorkeling. She has two children, and she just wrote a book, and it's so exciting. So please meet Alexandra. Now let's hear some more about you. So this whole time, it's not been about me at all. There'll be plenty of time for me, but I've lifted this person up in front of this other person I just met, and how are they going to feel about wanting to be part of this group of three women or men or what have you? They're going to get excited because they know that their presence is important. And Alexandra, who I just met, I was able to listen to her well enough to create this human connection that I could actually already introduce her. I'm not, I wasn't asked to do that. I didn't need to introduce myself because maybe neither one of them know a whole lot about me yet, except that I lift others up and I care about what they have to say. So that gets me excited in case you don't notice, Renee.
I love that because that's what makes people remember you. And if
Hmm.
it's about human connection, one part of it is being remembered. Those of
Hmm.
you who are out there, she gave us three really amazing tips. Hold space for other people, eye contact so they know that you're listening, and introduce them to a new person that's come into the group. Put a one for hold space, a two for eye contact, and a three for introductions. Which one is the favorite thing that you've learned today that's new for you, or that you think, oh, that is absolutely important? Just go ahead and put that in the chat.
Oh, and you'll
Now,
be able to see that and share it with me, right, Renee? Because I can't see it.
oh, absolutely. And you can
Okay.
save the chat when we're done.
Yeah.
So, Tracy, I happen to be one of those people that I get so involved in what they're saying that I sometimes forget their name. And I feel
Hmm.
like that's a
Hmm.
break of human. Do
Well,
you have any tips for that? And if you
I,
have
I
any,
do.
put them in the chat, people. So,
Yeah, I do I have a tip for that because I'm not good at that either. And I don't think a lot of us are. And I think names are important. Absolutely. But I also think just knowing some things about them are important because if you know their name and nothing else, then that's not going to be, important. So don't hold on their name so much. If you're going to let it go and you're not going to remember, you can circle back. Because if you can say, oh my God, I'm excited that you have two little boys and they're in XYZ grade and blah, 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 and these other things about them, and you've met them 10 minutes ago and you can introduce them, you could go back and say, oh my gosh, can you tell me again what your name was? I'm so sorry. I was so excited about your other things. People don't care. People just don't care. They don't mind being asked twice. In fact, it's better because then you're making it more important. And that second time around, now you've got information to attach to it. You're probably going to remember their name,
mhm.
in the future. And
Yeah,
and it's okay. And sometimes people will have name tags on and I can't see them. And so I'll move their hair and I'll say, how do you spell your name again? That's another way, because I spell my name differently. So I can always assume that everybody else has some interesting different way. And we all do. But don't
yeah.
worry about the name and don't worry about asking again. It's okay to ask two times, three times. It doesn't matter. But know something about that person that you can share with someone else who comes along and really lift that person up. Because at the same time you're lifting up the new person who just arrived thinking, wow, that person's going to pay attention to me too, just as much as they just paid attention to them. You know,
Yes.
you can get to know me later.
No, that is so
Yeah.
incredibly powerful. And by the way, I believe we did not turn on chat for our visitors. They were
Okay.
able to
Okay.
in the chat. And I don't know if that's possible. So Dee's out there. Dee, if it's possible to turn on chat for our guests so they can write there, that would be absolutely great. Um,
That would be great.
so
Hey,
we've
hey,
got
we're in the first session. We get to help get everything started. That's okay.
yes, that's the way it goes. So, yeah, so now we've got people able to put things in and they're just saying, I love this and thank you. If you have a question, go ahead and put that question in the chat so we can have a couple minutes to get that question answered before we move on. So, Tracy, are you still focused on driving accountability, productivity, and positive financial results in your coaching?
Yes, absolutely. And all of those things are done by first getting to know the person that you're coaching and that you're dealing with. There's more than just a person's title or the company that they work for. When I start with a new coachee, which I have a couple of new ones just in the last couple of weeks, the first session is really about letting them talk. Again, holding space, making that human connection. Um, before I'm going to help them develop tools to hold them accountable and hold their teams accountable and stuff, I really need to know who they are and what's important to them. And they need to trust me.
Mhm.
That's another way to get someone to trust you. It's like, because yes, we are going to probably we have coffee at some point, even if it's a person in another state where I always end up somewhere and I'll look them up and say, hey, let's have coffee. Um, you know, but so doing that opportunity of holding space and getting to know them is first. The second is we start working on, what do they need to grow through? What are the things that are challenging them? Is it accountability? Is it is it there a new leadership role for them and they need to know how to kind of step into that role? Is it how do they deal with a certain individual maybe that has a certain personality trait that can sometimes be challenging for leaders?
Yeah.
We're again going back to the human connection part, Renee. We're all humans, so the priority has to be able to get to know them and make that connection and know who they are. I see a friend of mine on here, Z, the cook, who I just adore. It's been several years since we've seen each other in person. And I just sent a note to her last night because I'm like, you know what? It's been way too long. Like she's somebody that we spent enough time connecting the first time we met in Palm Springs. Oh my gosh, 4 or 5 years ago, if not longer. And and she made such an impact on me that I want to honor that friendship and I want to get to know her. So I know we're going to make plans to meet next week. So yeah, honor your friendships. You know, I don't believe that friendship is separate than workspace. Some of you have read my book, The Leadership Contradiction. I want to be authentic at work. I want to be authentic with the people I coach. I want to be authentic with my family. I don't want to be a different person. I want to be the same. A little goofy sometimes, very playful, uh, but,
I
but
love
but
that.
always real, and I want to know you, you know.
Mhm. No,
Yeah.
what I love about that is that I can only imagine that if this is who you show up as a coach, then all the people that come to you thinking, oh, I need more accountability, I want to work on financial stuff and every that they learn how to connect with others. And I
Mhm.
can only imagine that that must totally transform their work as a leader because they're learning through your example on
Mm.
how to do human connection. And
Yeah.
I'm sure some people would love to know a little bit more about what you have to offer. And I understand you have a free gift for our listeners today.
Yeah, absolutely. And it should be loaded hopefully on there. And
Mhm.
what it is, and I just have to look and find out which one I sent. It is actually a little ebook that I wrote called Six Leadership Behaviors to Drive Peak Performance. So a
Yes.
couple more ideas. And since I can't see, or can I see the chat? Oh, there it
Well,
is
it
right
yes, and it is in the chat. So I
there. Okay,
would
perfect.
love it if someone would click on that link and just
Yes.
say, got it. And so that we know that that link is working.
Mhm.
And we can make sure that everyone is able to get that. So tell us a little bit about that free gift.
Yeah, so these are absolute life experiences of getting employees to perform better. Um, I believe that some of that book had to do with an employee that I probably just inherited and was probably going to fire him. And instead, he paid attention and is one of my favorite humans in the world today, and have been so proud to watch him grow and grow and grow and continue to escalate his career and his ability to lead others. It is a human thing. It is a
Yes.
human thing, Renee. And I think today more than ever, we're not going to go back to old times where, it's just, I'm going to show up to the cocktail party and let my boss see that I'm there, and, I'm going to work my way to the top of the leadership. No, it's about what is the impact you're leaving on others, and are you creating a team and developing and raising a team that are as compassionate and as kind um, of human beings as you are, because that stuff spreads and people need that, and we want that. And it absolutely has every place and every right to be in the workplace today. This love and kindness, this paying attention to others, holding space, making eye contact, taking a walk around the block just to get some fresh air together. It's not too late to change around and yeah,
Yeah.
do things a little
That's
differently.
wonderful. And I see that people are able to get your gift, which is absolutely amazing, wonderful, and terrific. Everyone, this is your chance to download that. Did you have a VIP gift as well? I did not see it listed.
I don't have a VIP gift today, but what I
Okay.
would love to do is anybody who wants to spend some time with me, I'll offer a free 30-minute conversation and answer any questions maybe that you had from today.
Okay. Well, we need to go in a minute, and there were a couple of questions that came in that you did not have a chance to
Okay.
answer. So please go ahead and download the chat. And for those of you who didn't get your question answered, please connect to her, get her free gift. It'll let you know how to connect with her there. And so, final words of wisdom, Tracy?
Yes, just pause, take a moment when someone's in front of you and remember the things that I've shared. It does matter, the human that's in front of you, and give them your eyes, give them your time, give them space. And if you need any more insights, get a hold of me and my website. And may I share my website so they could get in touch with me?
Real fast, and that will
Okay, so it's
before we go.
B-E, it's BEYOU, leadership.com. You can
Ah,
find buttons on there to book free sessions with me or see some other things that I'm about. So it's BEYOU leadership.com. And I am so thrilled, Renee, that we got to work together today. Thank you for everybody in the chat that watched my session today, and thank you for our tech team also for getting me off mute. So
thank you
it was
so
at
much.
the nick of time, right?
Feel free to download that chat, and that
Got
wraps
it.
us up for today. Thank you so much. I am Renee. See you all on the next wonderful Voices of Women speaker.
Thank you, Renee.
Wow, that was an amazing speaker. For replays of this talk and all the talks, plus an incredible gift bundle, upgrade to VIP now. If you have any questions or problems during the summit, you can always email our support team at support@voicesofwomensummit.com. Stay tuned. We have another fantastic speaker coming right up.